one thing we've improved is we now have QR codes you can scan instead of having somebody send out 100 DMs. Can you guys still see my screen?
I can, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you see full screen with the slides?
Yeah, I see it on Zoom, not in Discord, right?
I see it in Discord. Well, I just
I
see
see it
the
on Discord.
POAP.
Yeah.
You have to, in Discord, click watch stream to actually see it.
And this will work for more than 50 people, Willie?
Danielle is screen sharing on Zoom and following the Discord screen share. So if anyone, if we hit 50, Danielle's going to post, there's already a meeting, a link to the Zoom in the calendar invite, and Danielle will post it in general channel too. How many are we at?
It's already in general.
Sweet. Have we already hit 50 as well? Somebody
I'll
can.
go jump onto Zoom to make room for other people who might come in here.
Thanks, Josh.
So stay connected to voice, but don't watch the stream and get connected to Zoom.
That's right. If your computer can handle it.
Yeah, no, that's what I just realized. Yeah, that can be tough.
All right, well, we got a pretty good quorum of people here. I think we should get started.
We got some quorum. Perfect. Let's dive into the first ever weekly governance call for ShapeShift. Thank you all for joining. Very excited to be here with you all today. And yeah, this is the first of many. We'll be doing this every week until someone makes a proposal to change things. So the agenda for today, and again, this is the first time we're doing this, so this is kind of the proposed agenda, template agenda for this first call, but at the end, we'll have time to talk about the governance process, and would love to hear feedback for how we can make this the best governance call ever. Today, we're going to start with a quick overview of the governance process. Probably won't be something that we do every time, but at least for this first meeting, I want to make sure everyone has clarity on the governance process that we're starting with. Again, that is also open for the Fox holders to change. We're going to review the recent proposals. We've been, the DAO's been live for 3 weeks now. We've already had 3 proposals that have passed, and we have 1 proposal that's actively available for voting. So we're going to review proposals that have passed and active proposals, and then we'll take a look at some of the upcoming proposals. So things that are in the forum being discussed, and make sure people are aware of those, because now's a great time to jump in the forum and share feedback and ideas on any of these proposals that haven't yet gone up for governance. Then we're going to just have open space for anyone to discuss potential proposals. So if you have an idea for something that you've been thinking about and you want to get feedback on it, anyone will be able to kind of pitch their idea for a proposal and get some quick feedback. And then we'll have some space to discuss just the overall governance process and ideas for how we can improve it. And at the end, if we have time, we'll just have open Q&A where anyone's welcome to ask questions, and really anyone is available to kind of chime in and answer. Sound good?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's dive in.
Do it.
Whew. All right, so here is the governance stack that we are starting with. So up top, we have boardroom, and we're going to look at a little bit more at boardroom. But the reason we have boardroom up top is that boardroom is not a protocol in and of itself, but it's actually an aggregator of all these different protocols we're using. And it gives one interface where a Fox holder that's interested in participating in governance can go to see all these different protocols and the engagement within them in one single, nice, easy to use interface. There's a dotted line over to Colony because Colony is not yet hooked into Boardroom, but they're working on adding support for Colony and really every protocol. Their goal is to support and aggregate any governance protocol that projects are interested in using that has traction. And the reason for that, the reason that's so valuable is that there's not really one single protocol that we could find that solved all of our different needs that we were realizing we'd have in this new DAO world. So right now we're using this pretty common stack that a lot of DAOs that are launching these days are using, but it's only become available really in the past year. And it's Snapshot hooked up with Gnosis Safe, which is Snapshot is the voting tool. It's super cool because it enables users to vote for free with no gas. That was a big inflection point in the DAO space when previously last year, it could cost over $100 of ETH at times just to vote on a proposal. And that's a huge disincentive for voter participation, which is so key for a decentralized organization. So Snapshot came along and totally changed the game with gasless voting. And Gnosis Safe, which is the standard for multi-sig smart contracts on Ethereum. And not only is it a multi-sig smart contract, but it's got all this cool stuff that you can do with it, all these plugins. in a growing list of applications that are being directly integrated with Gnosis Safe, such as Snapshot. So we, in between Snapshot and Gnosis Safe, it's not pictured here, but there's another Oracle smart contract called SafeSnap. It's from the reality.eth team. And it basically takes these votes that for Snapshot aren't on chain. They're signed messages that are stored on IPFS. And SafeSnap is an oracle that allows you to bring these off-chain votes on chain, which means that if a proposal has transactions included with it and it passes the governance process, it can get automatically executed by the Gnosis Safe. So other tools we have are Discord, of course. That's where we all are right now. This is kind of for informal chat. It's like we're in the past at ShapeShift, we've used Slack. That's where a lot of our internal communications have happened. We're in the early stages of the process. We're really pushing everyone over the next couple of weeks to move communications from Slack into Discord, where we can now have them publicly with our community. Really excited for that. And then Discourse is our forum. So similar name to Discord. That's kind of tricky, but we're calling it the Fox Forum. You can check it out on forum.shapeshift.com. There's a ton of really cool conversations happening there. That's really the place where you want to actually, once you have an idea that you think will go to governance, you can take it to Discourse, start a conversation, get feedback from the community, and ultimately brainstorm and refine a draft proposal that you can then take to governance. And then Colony, we touched on Snapshot and Gnosis Safe. Colony is another tool that right now is deployed on XDAI that enables us to have an organizational structure where the DAO can basically send funds to work streams, and work streams can autonomously allocate their funds to achieve their goals that they've proposed to the Fox token holders without every single payment needing to go up for a governance vote. Colony is a super cool tool, and ShapeShift was actually one of the first companies on the first day they were onboarding new projects onto their V2 that just launched on XDAI. We were one of the first projects onboarded. So really grateful that all these tools come together to give us a really powerful and impressive and surprisingly easy to use. I know it sounds complicated, but it's easier than it sounds.
Things are normal by March.
Sorry, what did you say? Was someone?
I think they weren't supposed to be unmuted.
That's one challenge with the voice channels versus stage, but we'll roll with it.
All right, we
Please
do have
vote.
the power to mute people if it becomes an issue, but move
Thank you.
forward with.
And feel free to ask questions at any point in time. I talk fast and we'll just tend to just ramble, so please feel free to stop me. So I want to just give everyone a quick overview of Boardroom and some of the tools that some of the things you can do in Boardroom. Boardroom is basically where we're appointing people who are interested in participating in governance to. Obviously, there's links here to the Discord and to the forum if they want to dive deeper. But the idea with this is, like, instead of sending users to forum or to the forum and to Snapshot and to the Gnosis Safe, if they want to see the treasury, we can send them to one place where they can at least see the high-level activity happening across our governance process. So we've got this nice overview. This is something that Snapshot doesn't have either, so really nice to be able to just give people an overview of the governance process in the place that they're making proposals and voting on them. We've got a link into our forum. So this is our meta governance category. So basically any topics that are in the meta governance category can be viewed in the forum, in Boardroom. Ideation, we'll cover this in a second, but this is a very cool feature. So a lot of DAOs before Boardroom launched this feature would just use their forum for the proposal discussion process, basically, and to try and get signal support from the community before advancing to a formal governance proposal on Snapshot or whichever DAO protocol they're using. But again, that requires people to do things in two places. So if you want to vote on a proposal or see more of the discussion, you have to go to two places. If you want to comment on it, you have to create a separate account for Discourse when maybe you just want to vote and put a comment on that proposal. Boardroom's really cool because instead of having to happen in the forum, we can have these draft proposals live in Boardroom right next to where people are voting on them. And people can actually just connect a wallet instead of creating an account and confirming their email, and they can upvote proposals they like and downvote them. And instead of just one thumb up, one thumb down, it actually takes into account your voting power. That Snapshot with the same strategies that Snapshot uses, so that you can have these votes be weighted. So it's really cool. It enables people to comment on it as well and upvote and downvote comments. And once your draft proposal has been in Boardroom for at least 5 days, if it has more upvotes and downvotes, you can actually make a proposal and do that directly within Boardroom. You can create proposals and vote on them. You can also see kind of a history of all the voters, and if you create a profile on, it used to be 3-box and now it's ceramic, that information will show up here, so people can actually see the profile instead of just a hex string. And you can see our treasury. So this is hooked into our Gnosis safe, and you can see the balance of the Gnosis safe, which is the DAO's treasury. Right now, it only shows our current balance. Most of the funds right now, right now, let's see, we've got 3.63 million Fox, but there's 242 million Fox in total that are being streamed to the DAO over the course of 3 years. And we're about, a month into that, a little over a month into that since that stream began. So right now you can't see that Fox that's being streamed. That really can only go to the DAO. So fortunately, talked with Boardroom team, and they are working on a new feature where we will be able to basically plug in that stream contract so people can kind of see the locked balance and the available balance, or the claimed and the unclaimed balance. Furthermore, while we're on this topic, we used the Badger Hunt smart contract for the airdrop, which was a fork of Uniswap's smart contract that added the ability to claw back any unclaimed airdrops. So I think the date it's like mid-October, basically, 100 days after July 14th. The DAO will have the ability to, it's called clawback, basically get all of the unclaimed Fox transferred to its treasury. And we'll see, at current rates, it's looking like that's going to be at least 100 million additional Fox tokens for the DAO treasury. So we're going to have a pretty good endowment to allocate towards proposals. Also, one cool feature is a calendar. So you can see we got a weekly governance call here, and we're going to start adding more of these public community calls so that, again, anyone who just is interested in governance can also see the upcoming meetings, and maybe there's an interesting meeting that catches their eyes, especially because we're trying to do, whenever there's a proposal related to a partnership with another project, we've been doing and getting into the habit of doing guest speakers and kind of public calls where we can discuss these proposals with the actual project we'd be partnering with, and anyone can ask questions. So yeah, we've done it so far with the UMA team. We did one this past week with Gitcoin. Next week we're doing one with the Osmosis team and the Ichi team, most likely. So we might do a double feature next week. And yeah, we want to kind of make this a tradition and every week have a cool, interesting guest speaker, whether it's related to a proposal or if there's no relevant proposals, we can just have a cool chat with all these amazing projects. I'm not worried about the number of amazing projects running out, because it seems like cool new projects are popping up every single day these days. All right, any questions about Boardroom or the governance stack, or should we dive into the governance process? This will be pretty quick, but this will help it all come together, I think.
Yeah,
Cool.
let's move forward.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
awesome so far.
Sweet. Glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm having fun too. Rule number 1, have fun. All right, so the governance process, it sounds, maybe it looks a little complicated, but it's really not. And especially, it might take a couple of weeks to go from an idea to an actual funded and executed proposal. But if you compare that to the typical organization with the corporate hierarchy and stuff, the ability for any token holder or any community member just to have an idea and then potentially get that funded in 2 weeks is actually incredibly fast. So let's keep that in mind, as in case this sounds cumbersome. This is the ability for anyone to propose an idea, get it approved in a matter of weeks, and get it funded. And that's pretty powerful, and something that was not possible until the advent of DAOs. So step 1, you can post your idea in Discord just for informal chat. You can also skip. You can just go ahead and post your idea in the forum if you want to. But for best practices, please at least we have a proposal discussion channel in Discord. Share your proposal there. That's a really low effort way for people to just start sharing their feedback, or even just putting an emoji on the idea. Then next step is to post your idea in Discourse, the forum. Really anything that you think is going to become an actual proposal must go through this process. It must live in the forum so that people have the chance to give feedback. But there's no kind of time requirements, really. Once you have a proposal that is drafted and follows the proposal template, which you can find in the forum, you are clear to post it in Boardroom. So just let's imagine there's a proposal that we really want to move really quickly. It's not contentious. You could just post that in Discourse, and then a minute later, publish your proposal to Boardroom if it follows the guidelines. So Boardroom is where you go once you have a draft proposal that follows the template, and you want to get feedback from the community, and And basically, before you just propose it to governance, it's an opportunity to make sure that people have the chance to see this and provide their feedback. It's really valuable for us. We have the opportunity, with all these different community members across the whole spectrum of specializations and skills and cultures that are able to weigh in on these ideas, and that's pretty cool. So to get the best bang for your buck, get the majority of the wisdom of the crowd that we have available to us, Boardroom is a place to do that, get that feedback, and refine your proposal and ensure that your proposal has the best chances of passing before you take it to Snapshot. Because you can imagine if you take a proposal to Snapshot and it gets voted down, you're welcome to make that proposal again, but it's probably going to be harder the second time around, I would imagine, unless you make some significant changes. So make the best first impression and get feedback from the community in Boardroom. Then after 5 days, it has to be in Boardroom for at least 5 days. Once it's there and has more upvotes than downvotes, that's the only requirement. As long as it has more upvotes than downvotes, you're welcome to take it to Snapshot for a formal governance proposal. So I have in this example, yay or nay. Snapshot also gives you the ability to include multiple choice options that people can vote on. So like, for example, we have a UMA proposal upcoming, and it's possible there'll be like a couple different ranges people can vote on as opposed to just yes or no, should we do this? And you also have the ability to include transactions. So you can include a transfer of Fox, or you can include any custom arbitrary transaction, which means that the Gnosis Safe has the ability to interact with smart contracts, which is super cool. So furthermore, it even has the ability to interact with smart contracts on XDAI, like Colony. So you can actually include transactions in your proposal like, transfer 100,000 Fox to Colony, or even in that same transaction, you could have the DAO actually appoint a work stream leader on Colony, basically give an address some extra permissions on Colony. So pretty amazing what we can do here with Snapshot. The proposal in Snapshot must be there for at least 3 days. That's just a minimum. You're welcome to leave your proposal in there for longer, which can be valuable to make sure that you actually hit quorum. We'll talk about quorum in a bit, but basically you need at least 4 million Fox to vote on a proposal in Snapshot for it to automatically get executed by Gnosis Safe. The first 3 proposals have not hit that quorum, but this currently active one is really close to hitting quorum. So we'll talk about soft quorum in a second and how and what that means, and basically the rules around passing a proposal or not passing a proposal if it does not meet quorum. So as mentioned, once your Snapshot proposal is passed, if it passes quorum, your transactions can get automatically executed by the Gnosis Safe. In full transparency, right now there's a multi-sig safeguard that can veto these any malicious transactions or transactions that don't do what the proposal actually intended. That is intended to just be a temporary safeguard. So it's in place for now. It's given us the ability also to pass proposals and execute proposals under soft quorum, because those are not getting automatically executed by the Gnosis Safe. But we, again, intend this to be a temporary thing, and it's up to you, our community, to decide when we think it's right to remove that safeguard. And basically, at that point, it'll be entirely up to the Snapshot to make any transfers or changes with the Gnosis Safe. And once a proposal has been approved, if it's a proposal for a body of work, not just like a single payment, then those funds should be transferred to Colony. What Colony enables us to do is take, like, let's say we have an example of a proposal coming that's active right now for the osmosis integration. There's 4 milestones in that integration. Instead of, and there's probably going to be multiple people that work on that integration, multiple different expenses that need to be paid. And it would be very inefficient and exhausting for each one of those payments to require a proposal. And also wouldn't be very safe for us to just transfer the funds to one person and trust them to make those payments. So what Colony does is it enables anybody who's contributing to get paid, and it enables workstream leaders as well as really the whole workstream. There's some cool checks and balances to allocate funds they get from the DAO autonomously, basically however they best see fit to achieve their mission. And let's say, like in the worst case scenario, let's say a workstream leader makes a motion, that's what it's called in Colony, a motion to just steal all the funds in their workstream and pay themselves in bail. Both the workstream and the DAO actually have the ability to take back those funds, reject that payment request, and replace that workstream leader. So there's some cool checks and balances there. I don't really anticipate that to happen because it requires funds to stake behind a payment request, and you can lose those funds if you behave badly. But the cool thing is that if you don't behave badly and you're just making a request to get paid that's expected because you've already communicated it with the workstream, that payment will just happen. As long as no one objects to it, you just make a request, or the workstream leader can create a request, and or anyone in the workstream really can create a request. And as long as nobody in that workstream objects to it, the payment will just happen. So it's a super cool tool, and it was really kind of like a critical piece. We were trying to figure out how do we solve this problem of having a lot of contributors, because we already have 65 full-time employees plus this growing community. How do we get shit done in a way that's not overwhelmingly exhaustive for the token holders to vote on? And so Colony is basically the answer to that. We'll probably cover that in a separate call. It's not too much related to the governance process. It's more our organizational structure, but it is important to at least have that high-level understanding. All right, so next we're going to go to soft quorum, but does anyone have any questions around this governance process while we're on the topic?
No questions, Willie, but my one suggestion is in the interest of time to move forward to the meat of this conversation. And if people have further questions about just how governance works after the quick soft quorum discussion, that we do that in a separate call.
Cool, sounds good. Soft quorum will take a minute or two, and then we'll dive right into the meat. So soft quorum was introduced because it's actually a concept that Gitcoin either pioneered or copied from somebody else, and now we're copying Gitcoin. Basically, it's a way for us to enable proposals to pass if they have overwhelming support but don't hit that 4 million Fox quorum, which is actually pretty difficult to hit right now because that is a significant percentage of the overall circulating Fox supply. So it takes a lot of voter participation to get to that quorum. But we're actually doing pretty good so far. So the idea here is that there's a calculator that you can find in the forum that anyone can use to basically plug in the votes in favor and the votes against of a given proposal, and then see if the proposal is going to pass or fail. And you can see, I don't know how these transitions came in here. I didn't mean for those to be there. But you can see that there's kind of this sweet spot. So what we do to calculate this is we assume that 70% of whatever votes are remaining will go against the proposal, and 30% will be in favor of it. So there's a sweet spot right around 1.14285 million votes, where if you have no votes against and you have all votes in favor and you get more than 1.143 million votes, your proposal can pass under soft quorum. The more votes against that you have, then the more votes in favor you would need to still pass via soft quorum. All right, now let's dive into the delicious meat of this conversation. So there have been 3 proposals passed. And we'll just give a little bit more context. This is going to be kind of the main meat of these meetings going forward. We're just going to be talking about the recent proposals, active proposals, upcoming proposals, and then giving space for people to talk about potential proposals and about the overall governance process. So this is where the future meetings will likely begin. So we're going to do a quick overview of the recent proposals so everyone can be familiar with what's happened just in the past 3 weeks, and in the future it'll be in the past week. So we've got a commission for custom NFTs for the first 10 accepted proposals. This is the first proposal to pass. The idea here is that after this proposal, the creators of the next 10 proposals that pass will get an exclusive custom Fox NFT. And I wish I had those handy. If I could go back in time, I'd add those to the slides because they're beautiful. Maybe someone can pull them up towards the end and share their screen so we can see how cool these NFTs are, but they're awesome. Each one is one of a kind. And if you have a proposal, if you're one of the first 10 proposals that passes, one of these NFTs can be yours. They're also all ShapeShift themed and inspired. It's from a community member, Luna Hawk, who has been a fan of ShapeShift since the beginning, so really has followed the whole history. And the idea is that it's the evolution of the ShapeShift logo, which has gone through quite a few shapeshifts. So really excited to see this. This is awesome, and it was a very modest request for funding for 12,000 Fox for all 10 of these NFTs. The next proposal that passed was adding Fox to TipCC. Hunt, if you're on the call, would you like to give us an overview of TipCC and why you created this proposal?
I'm not actually sure he's on the call. He said he had to run a few hours ago, so might not be here today.
Okay, I'll cover. Hunt is our new community moderator too. So actually Hunt is the first person who has had 2 proposals passed, which is awesome. And Hunt is a community member. Again, not a ShapeShift employee, but somebody who has been a fan and user of ShapeShift for years. So the TipCC is a really cool Discord bot that will enable anyone to kind of deposit Fox into a tip account that they can then send to anybody in the Discord if they do something that they like or that they appreciate. So I know the community moderators are going to have a little Fox tip budget. I'm planning to have a Fox tip budget just to to reward to anyone, to you guys who do something cool and that I appreciate in the Discord. It's a really cool tool, and it costs $1,000 to get Fox listed on TipCC. That's their listing fee. So that was what the 1565 Fox was for. The next proposal that passed is to establish community support structure. And this proposal requested $9,000 for 4 months to fund 2 community moderators. This proposal passed, and so those community moderators now have some extra Discord privileges, and we actually had a call with them yesterday to give them some onboarding and training, which again, we want to open this up to anyone who becomes a regular contributor to ShapeShift to go through this cool onboarding process, where we are in the process of taking our internal onboarding process and opening it up. But we did kind of a trial yesterday with these guys, and it was great. They're super cool and both really skilled. Giantkin has more of a security background. Hunt has more of a marketing background, and they've already been super active in the Discord before this proposal passed. And Giantkin even was very active in the Discord even before this whole decentralization announcement. He's been a longtime KeepKey user and fan. So really glad to see this proposal pass, and grateful that these guys are coming on board as our first kind of contributors that have been hired by the DAO. So hopefully this inspires some of you guys watching today to see how you can contribute and get rewarded. We got this big treasury of Fox, and the goal, that obviously Fox token holders' best interest is in allocating that Fox to initiatives that will grow the overall value of the treasury. So excited to see many more proposals to come, which brings us to the active proposals. So right now, Danielle is on the call, and this is her proposal. Danielle, would you like to give us an overview of this osmosis proposal that's currently active?
Yes, thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle. I'm the current director of operations at ShapeShift. I've been with ShapeShift for 5 years, and I'm just really excited to see how everything is moving into this DAO community, and it's so good to see all of you here. This is my active proposal. As you can see, it has 3.7 million Fox in favor. I would love to see it be the first one to get the full 4 million. If you're on and you haven't voted yet, check it out. What this would do is integrate another DEX, another way for ShapeShift users to trade, without giving their information and still keeping their tokens, in their self-custody. So that's what really was my motivation, and where I saw there were a few people talking about this on the forum, and it was looking like it just needed someone to kind of like lead it and own it and take it over the finish line. So I kind of scooped up this idea from the community. And what I did is I just kind of took 4 milestones. Technically, the first one on here is like the UI UX is actually the first milestone. And then it kind of goes into the claiming and staking, being able to just support the on-chain, in the native wallet. And then the final piece of it is to get that KeepKey support. So I did want to, break this down into different milestones. I know that right now, while we're still in the transitionary period, likely we'll have some current Foxes, who are familiar with like KeepKey and familiar with our code bases working on this, but I definitely wanted to just get out there and get this process moving. It's been really helpful for me to just kind of test it out. I've been giving feedback, to Willie through the process. And I would love any, it looks like it's been great support so far. Oh, one final thing I wanted to say as well is we've seen great support already from the osmosis community as well. And they have even put up a draft proposal that they're working on to match this proposal. So that was kind of an unexpected benefit that we got out of this. Like, there's so many communities out there that have always wanted to work with ShapeShift, and we've always had, this limited amount of resources. Well, now we have all of you community members to help us as well. And so just seeing their excitement kind of made that light bulb go off in my head that, this is an opportunity for us to work with so many other projects, get them excited, get us excited, and really provide more value to our users. That's all I have for now.
Awesome. Thanks, Danielle. Thanks for setting a great example for how to, follow the proposal process, and also participate and interact with another awesome community and get them to match a bounty. I hope to see many more of these partnerships with other DAOs where we're both putting up some tokens to fund an integration, and potentially even giving each other some of the tokens, so we have some aligned incentives.
Yep, same.
All right, so get out there and vote, everybody. We got 3.7 million votes. We need 4 million to pass quorum, so we're so close. And this proposal's up for another few days at least. You got some time, but go vote in there ASAP. And then also, we're going to have a public call with Osmosis this next Tuesday. John, do you know what time that's scheduled for?
Yep, it's 6 p.m. Eastern next Tuesday.
Awesome. Shall be lit. Hope to see you guys there. All right, and we have quite a few proposals that are in various stages in the process. None of these have made it up to boardroom yet, but most of these have discussions happening in the forum. So we'll run through these pretty quickly. If anyone's on the call and wants to has been discussing these proposals and wants to give an overview, I want to invite them up to talk about them. But yeah, if any of these sound interesting to you, please go get involved in the forum discussion that's happening right now. So one of the next proposals that's going to be going up is a mini airdrop to DAO communities who are missed due to staking or LPing. If you guys don't know, we airdropped about 150,000 Fox, I think, or sorry, to about 120,000 accounts. It was more Fox than that. 200 Fox each for holders of governance tokens of 13 DAO communities. So these are communities of other DAOs that we are either already using, like Uniswap, for example, or that we would love to use in the future, like Yearn. So these are Uniswap, Yearn, SushiSwap, Compound, Gitcoin. I'm not going to name the whole list, but it was 13 DAO communities. And because we only airdropped to those token holders, what that meant was that anybody who was staking their token, which a lot of people who hold Aave stake their Aave token because you get yield on it. And or they're providing liquidity. And so a lot of the most active members of these communities, and arguably the most supportive and beneficial members of these communities were missed out. And so that was not our intention. We knew that we had to move quickly to get this airdrop list together, and we were working on a bunch of other things, and we knew that we'd be able to come back and follow up with a proposal to do another airdrop. So far it's looking like about a little over 27,000 addresses. And the airdrop would be, again, 200 Fox for each of them. So that in total would require 5.5 million Fox. But again, we anticipate probably less than 50% of these airdrops tend to get claimed. So there'd be whatever is unclaimed would be returned back to the ShapeShift DAO treasury. And we wouldn't have to do a lot of extra work for this. We've got the list together. And we will use the same airdrop contract that we used before, just with the new Merkle proof. And we will use the same UI that we currently have in UX, both in web and mobile, for people to be able to claim. It's a very minimal dev effort. We just need to get the list together, which we are almost done with, and then expect to see this one coming through boardroom soon. Do we have anyone from the UMA team who can talk to us about the range token?
Yeah, I think Sean is on here. If you want to talk about it, Sean. I see him there. I don't hear him, though.
I do. One thing I want to make sure is that people have the permission to talk, because I guess now that I think about it, I may have only heard Fox's talk, who might have some special permissions.
I'm looking at it. It looks like everyone should be able to, but let me.
I see Sean unmute, and we still couldn't hear anything, and then he muted himself again. Now he's unmuted.
Try now, other Sean.
Well, apologies to anybody who has been trying to speak up and felt like they were being ignored. It looks like we can only hear people who are moderators or something.
Maybe we can skip this one and come back to it.
If I can just interject really quick, guys. This is Kent. I have a few thoughts about not so much these specific proposals, but which are super interesting, but kind of the thought process and framework I use for vetting these, because we're going to see a lot of interesting sort of technical new proposed integrations come across, and vetting these is just super important for due diligence. For those of you who aren't aware, I currently handle the R&D efforts at ShapeShift, and one of the things I've been doing is looking at new proposals from a technical basis, like both UMA and HPT are a good example here. So just to kind of put you in my head of like what I'm looking at, because I want you guys to have these abilities too. So the first thing is like, okay, is a team reputable? This is like the most basic bar to clear. There's a lot of, just no-name fly-by-night projects. That's a pretty easy thing to vet. In the case of UMA or something like Ichi, these teams are known. Another thing is, looking at code audits. There are some reputable code auditing names out there. Certic and QuantStamp are a few. These are very important bars to clear for any project. If audits aren't in existence, then that's really concerning. And then lastly is like, okay, so you're looking at what are they proposing and what potential value could add to the DAO. But then what you want to do is unpack the different components of how this project works. In the case of UMA, they have an Oracle that's an important component. But it can seem daunting when you're looking at integrating a potential partner, like looking at their tech stack and their white paper. But what I would recommend is just kind of picking apart the different constituent components, and then thinking about, okay, well, what does this look like? What are the potential attack vectors? Where are opportunities for deeper integrations? And that's kind of it. I'll give some more thoughts about this, maybe like in an article coming up, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys some insight into the way I think with respect to vetting these things.
Love it. Thanks for sharing that, Kent.
I think I fixed the sound, and I'm hearing a lot of open mics, so if you wouldn't mind muting when you're not, especially the person ripping the bong, that'd be nice. I did have to mute some people, so to not get muted, or you can reach out to Marley on Discord if you were muted.
You should mute Bruce Fenton. He's a troublemaker.
He's one of the open mics, yes.
Sorry, Sean, that was me with the bong. Sorry, didn't know I wasn't muted.
Hey, Sean,
Hey, guys.
are you able to talk now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we hear you. Go ahead. If you want to talk about the range token proposal, would love for you to give an overview.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties with the push to talk thing. Yeah, I think Josh originally proposed this, but like real high level, the proposal was around creating this new treasury management primitive based upon the UMA protocol, which we call a range token, with the purpose of funding this with Fox and using it to diversify the treasury. And yeah, get some stable coins into the treasury and do this in like a DeFi native way that would potentially allow others to participate, and also not have some of the downsides of typical token issuance or like immediate sales that come along with that, like token dilution and stuff like that.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. And yeah, there's a poll right now in the forum around different ranges for the range token. So right now we're kind of this is a perfect example of how you can have an idea, but still get feedback from the entire community on what the best range is, for instance. So please jump into the forum, and then expect to see this soon coming through a boardroom ideation.
Willie, just a quick process question there. Since this is one of like those proposals that kind of has like multiple options, and we're gathering feedback on kind of multiple choice questions, is the recommended way to get it into boardroom kind of we see what the results of those polls are, and then propose one proposal with like the results of those polls, or what?
Yes, I think that would make sense. You can either do because there's not really a good way to have multiple choice and a no option. So if you want to give people like the ability to do yes or no, then I think boardroom's kind of a good way to do that. Basically, like if it gets a lot of downvotes or something, then won't even go to the next stage. Or in the forum too, we can kind of just like measure sentiment and then make a proposal with like one of the choices or no, or yes or no, and the proposal would kind of have one of the choices. I think that's good too, because especially for a lot of these Fox token holders, they're not going to necessarily have the expertise to weigh in on that, and nor are they really going to want to, but they'll be able to kind of read it, get the overall idea, and then say yay or nay. So I think that works, but really it's up to you. But that would make sense to me.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll just echo that and say my suggestion, Sean, is to take the forum poll data and just try to make it into a single yes or no proposal to start, because I think that simplifies it for a lot of people.
Great.
I was surprised to see in Snapshot, when I did get my proposal through that far, that there were a lot more options than just yes, no. So it is good to know that exists. On Snapshot, you can have like many different types of votes, not just a yes or a no.
Oh, that's cool. That must be a new feature. I'll have to check that out. Thanks, Danielle, for mentioning that. So cool that all these tools that we're using continue to evolve and are just in the early stages and are already so cool. All right, let's keep moving. Next proposals that we'll probably see are for additional liquidity mining programs. The current liquidity mining program runs till mid-October, and after that ends, if we don't add a new liquidity mining program, there'll be no more liquidity incentives. And what you could expect to happen is that there might be an exit of liquidity, and that liquidity is so valuable. So we're in the early conversations with both Bancor and SushiSwap about additional liquidity mining programs. The cool thing about liquidity mining with Bancor is that it can be one-sided, so it can give Fox token holders the option to just deposit Fox. You don't need to have an equivalent amount of ETH to deposit, which is pretty cool. They're willing to, it ultimately have to be up to their community, but from talking to their team, they're confident that their community would support impermanent loss insurance protection, which basically means that you're just depositing Fox and you don't have to worry about impermanent loss, because what will happen is they will actually, other people or the Bancor treasury will put up Bancor tokens to match your Fox. So it'll be a Fox Bancor pool. But if regardless of what happens with the price of Bancor, if it goes down, they will make you whole with more Bancor tokens, even if it means Bancor's protocol minting more Bancor tokens and diluting the overall Bancor supply. So it's pretty cool, and they're interested in sponsoring with Bancor tokens for liquidity mining incentives, because like they said, they want to make Bancor the deepest liquidity pool for Fox. So that's exciting.
Willie, will we still be able to vote through whatever wallet that we're using to stake with Bancor at that time?
That's a great question. Not automatically, but potentially. What would be required there is updating, making a PR to Snapshot and having our Snapshot admin update our Snapshot strategy to also include Fox in a Bancor pool. So it's possible, it just would require a very low effort.
Well, and one thing we did figure out, Willie, when we updated for the current liquidity mining pool, is that you don't actually always need a PR to Snapshot. You can actually just edit any current Snapshot strategy that's already up there and add it automatically as long as you put in the right data. So that was something Deval did that was really cool. And if there already is some sort of Bancor strategy up there, we might be able to just add it easily, but we'll have to look into that.
Super cool. Nice. It might not even require a PR. Could be even easier. Awesome. But yeah, to answer your question, Scott, that I think that would be the intention. And that reminds me, there was another proposal around that, or at least forum discussion around, should we give users extra Fox benefits for Fox and liquidity pools? And unanimously, people said, yeah, at least they should be able to vote. Why would we not want them to be able to vote? And why would we want to disincentivize?
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Similarly with SushiSwap, they actually reached out to us. They're interested in having Fox potentially be on their on-send menu, which what that means is that they will actually sponsor and reward liquidity providers to the SushiSwap Fox ETH pool with Sushi tokens. So both of these are really awesome programs, because not only are they on some of the top dexes, but these dexes are very interested in having Fox liquidity and are interested in using their own tokens to incentivize that.
Also, Willie, another question. Will we be able to do the staking directly from the UI of the mobile app or within the desktop?
That, again, would require some work. It wouldn't just happen automatically, but definitely, yeah, if we were to do these liquidity mining programs, I imagine we'll make sure there's a really nice user experience for people to provide liquidity. All right. Next upcoming proposal, ShapeShift and Ichi, talking about one Fox. This one's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but Ichi is a new protocol. We're scheduling a call with them next week to dive deeper. There's an in-depth forum discussion. The idea here is that it would enable the treasury to have a stablecoin that's backed by both USDC and Fox. And the larger the treasury is, the more Fox, the higher the ratio of Fox to USDC. So it's kind of interesting and could give the treasury the ability to pay people in a stable token that's backed by USDC and redeemable 1-to-1 for USDC without having to sell Fox for stablecoins. So similar concept to the range token, or similar value as the range token in some ways, but quite different, and definitely something we're interested in learning more about. They also reached out to us and got a discussion started in the forum. So if you're interested in that, check out the forum discussion, or keep your eyes open for the call next week. Also, of course, official ShapeShift merch store. There's a discussion in the forum for this. This idea here is pretty straightforward. Buy cool ShapeShift swag, potentially even with Fox tokens. Excited for that one to evolve.
And have some of the revenue returned to the DAO.
Ah, yes, and a revenue stream for the DAO. Thanks for adding that, John. Great point. Super excited for proposals that have revenue streams for the DAO. Also, I should have mentioned that too with this first proposal that passed. If these NFTs get sold, 5% of that sale will go to the DAO. So that's pretty exciting. All right, upcoming proposals. There's a lot of discussion around additional wallet support. We know that kind of one of the biggest missing pieces from ShapeShift right now is support for MetaMask and Trust Wallet and Wallet Connect. This is not out of desire, but really, to be honest, out of tech debt that we are actively working on cleaning up. So stay tuned for additional wallet support. I personally am really excited for this. Another one, there's not a discussion in the forum with this, but I was talking with a team member earlier, and we agreed that it'd be great for the DAO to consider setting some annual goals. So something that ShapeShift does and a lot of organizations do, where you set kind of like one or more goals that the entire organization can rally around. And the idea is that we could kind of have the community vote on these, and then it kind of gives some good guidance to work streams, because any work stream should basically support those annual goals either directly or indirectly in some way. Also, something that I'm really eager to advance is the process for electing workstream leaders. And I want this to be something that I think it makes sense for the community to participate in kind of figuring out what the best process is, because we all got to figure this out together. But I have a lot of really cool ideas for how we can elect these workstream leaders. One idea that was not mine, I think it was Josh's, our engineering director, was to host debates, because this really is going to be like an election. The idea is we might have 3 or more people competing to be a leader of a workstream. And so we could kind of have the community pick their top favorites based on like a resume and a recorded interview. And then, and actually Bruce Fenton's on the call. Bruce, I want to use the tool you told me about, I think it's VidCruiter, or one of these video recording hiring tools, so that basically we can like make it really scalable, record ourselves asking 10 questions, invite anyone to apply, and it'll record themselves answering these questions. And then any of the token holders can watch these candidates' responses. So that'll be cool. And then the idea that Josh has was, why don't we have a debate just like a real presidential election? And I just think that'd be so cool to be able to have the token holders attend and watch like a public debate between these people, battling to become the workstream leader.
Could I comment on that? I think that, sorry, Dutch. I think that a lot of people like this DAO model because they don't have to show their faces. So I would definitely encourage having an option where it's not as personal as recording a video of your face.
That's a really good point, Danielle. So yeah, if you want to like wear a mask or a wig or do no video, that would totally be acceptable. Great point. Cool. And then the next thing, of course, that I'm really excited about is actually electing these workstream leaders. So we're still figuring out the process. This is going to take some time because we really want to make sure we get great talent to apply and we raise awareness around these positions. So in the meantime, feel free. You'll see there's examples of people who are already getting the ball rolling with work streams. You don't need to be elected to do stuff for free, basically, or to start to define a work stream or to make a proposal to get funding even for a work stream. You don't need to be the leader of it, and we don't want to hold any of that stuff back. So again, we're figuring this stuff out while we go, but we want to move quickly and strategically. So please check out if you're interested in being a work stream leader, or if you're interested in contributing to these work streams and no work stream leader has been elected yet. Check out the forum. There's discussions for each of these work streams in there, and we invite everyone to come start getting involved and participating as we figure out these work streams. All right. I have this available, but we've covered this in an organizational call, and there's a great blog post or forum post about the organizational structure, but this just gives some more color to what these work streams will actually look like and how they'll interact with the DAO. So we won't cover this today because we're running short on time, and I want to open it up for questions. But please feel free to check out the org structure post in the forum. There's a lot of good detail there. All right, I just talked a ton. Thank you guys for your patience and for listening. Does anyone want to discuss any potential ideas they have for proposals and get feedback on them from the community?
Willie, while you're doing that, can you leave up the QR code for the PO app for folks?
Yes, let's do it. And everyone, here's your PO app. I actually have to claim it myself. Thanks for reminding me, Matt. Scan this QR code and you can claim this NFT on XDAI for free, no gas. Just put in your ETH address or your ENS name. All right. Any ideas for proposals that you want to discuss now?
Yeah, I have one, but I think we'll have a call with their team in the coming weeks. There's a company that has their own decentralized phone and they would love to have ShapeShift natively on the phone for trades. So I have to, we have to have a call with them to figure out exactly what that would entail. But that's something I'm excited to get across the line.
Yeah, thanks for teeing that up. For those of you guys that don't know, Dutch is the I don't know, he's got a cool title. He's like the head of global partnerships for Portis. He was a co-founder of Portis, and then when Portis got acquired by ShapeShift, he started doing business development and relationship stuff for ShapeShift. And Dutch knows pretty much everybody. So thanks for teeing that conversation up, Dutch.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm excited to see where it goes and see if we could get ShapeShift natively on all these phones, to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people natively.
Yeah, I want a ShapeShift phone. That sounds awesome. Cool. Any other ideas people have? They want to just run past the community? No judgment.
Hey, Willie, this is Josh here. And I was wondering if I thought we might spend a little bit more time talking about the range token and some of the possibilities, but from earlier, we just want to have Sean look at those polls and kind of pick one and let the debate kind of revolve around that one option and go from there? Or would it be helpful to have a little bit of a live discussion about it?
It seems to me like a good next step would be to just take it to the boardroom. But if you want to discuss it, or if anyone has questions around the range token that they want to ask here, we certainly can talk about that. Let's just make this open-ended. So anyone you can talk about the governance process. You can talk about ideas for proposals. You can have open Q&A.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about range token, Josh?
Well, yes, I do, just because I just think it's so important for what we're doing. But we did find there is a path here, so I don't want to hog the time left. But if there's nothing else, then yeah, I would like to just talk about some of the specific parameters of it. But
Let's do it.
Okay.
I think I'll pull up this post too if you want to.
Because I think one of the main things, and it could help Sean as he looks at what should the proposal that comes up, what should it be? And one of the bigger concepts to me seem to be whether you have a narrow range or a bigger range, right? And if you do a narrow range, you're kind of the people who would buy the range token are looking for returns by what the return on what the tokens are worth, thinking that the Fox token is going to appreciate in value beyond the range, or hoping that they would get more Fox for in that scenario. If we do a wider range and then you sell it at a discount, you're basically thinking of it as just earning yield. You're buying, you're spending $1, you're getting $1 of Fox tokens for 90 cents, and in a year you get one Fox, you get $1 worth of Fox tokens for that 90 cents. So do we want to think about this more of you're looking for increase in Fox and you want to have the chance to make more, which would be a shorter range, or is it a yield opportunity that you end up with Fox, but you're just earning yield for the set amount of time? As I speak, maybe that's too complicated of a question for, maybe you need to know too much about the mechanics.
Yeah, I think my oh, go ahead. Someone's going to speak up.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I think my recommendation is this is a complex topic that if people want to discuss, I would recommend a call just to discuss these things, kind of like we did with the original UMA call. I do think we're kind of coalescing around an idea on that poll in the forum, and if that went to boardroom, we could if people don't like what is suggested, then that's the time for them to comment and say, no, it should be a different range, or I'm going to vote this down because I want a different range. But I think there's for many people, it's just too many options, and we kind of need to start narrowing in on a very specific option for people to kind of weigh in on. to get better feedback.
Yeah, John, I think that's like perfectly said. There's pros and cons to setting like different parameters, like Josh was describing. Like a smaller range might be more advantageous to the person that's buying the range token, but a larger range might be more advantageous to the Fox DAO or the ShapeShift DAO in general. So it's kind of like ballparking that happy medium. So I think we just need to like decide on a few parameters and put that up for a vote and kind of make the discussion happen because it's up for a vote.
That sounds good to me too.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for entertaining my question.
Yeah, totally. All right, we got time for one more question. If anyone's got one, or comments on the governance process, ideas for proposals, feedback on this weekly governance call, because we're going to do more of these and hopefully everyone will get better than the last.
I think you did great, Willie.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, great first call.
Woohoo! Woo! All right.
I'll quickly, before we end, I'll show an upcoming event that we're going to have. So on August 17th at noon Eastern time, we'll have a discussion with MakerDAO. So I met Linka at ETHCC, and she has a ton of experience in this kind of transition from centralized to decentralized, working at the Maker Foundation and now at MakerDAO. So I hope everyone can make that one, and I'll put it on the boardroom calendar so you can see it.
In words of Willie, best call ever.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Danielle. I'm looking forward to this Maker call. Hope to see you
really?
there.
So is QR code working?
Is what working?
So QR code is like NFT claim QR code. So it says like no claim URLs available.
It worked for me. You're seeing that like on the POAP website, or what? Where are you seeing that message?
So on the website, yeah. So I just scanned the QR code and it just opens the web. Then I will do it again. Yeah.
It worked.
There's a screenshot in the general channel.
It worked today. It does look like there's only 20 remaining, so I'm not sure. So there's 20 more POAP tokens to be claimed. I guess there's a limited supply. So please claim. We'll leave this open for a second, but yeah, I think this commences this call, or what? Not commences. This ends this call, and we will see you guys for the next one. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Willie.
Thank you.
Thanks.